Welcome back to the channel. World Coins Master, another exciting journey into the world of rare and incredibly valuable US coins, where everyday pocket change could secretly hold a fortune. In today's deep dive, we explore a truly fascinating and mind-blowing case, the 1991 P. Roosevelt dime, a coin that, despite its humble face value of just 10 cents, is rumored to have fetched an astonishing price tag of $9 million. Yes, you heard that right, $9 million. And it's not just hype or internet rumor. There are genuine reasons, backed by the world of numismatics and coin collectors, that have elevated this seemingly ordinary dime to legendary status. Before you toss your spare change into a jar or hand it to a cashier, you might want to take a second look, because that small silver coin in your hand could be worth far more than its printed value. The 1991 P dime is not just another minted coin. It's one that has stirred the imagination of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike. The secrets it holds are tied to a series of remarkable errors, anomalies, and historical context, each layer adding to its mysterious and spectacular rise in value. Let's begin by stepping back in time to the early 1990s, a time when the US Mint was producing billions of coins annually. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark, was churning out countless dimes as part of its regular production cycle. But within that enormous batch of coins, something unexpected occurred. Among the mass-produced coins, a few anomalies slipped through the cracks, anomalies that would go unnoticed for years until sharp-eyed collectors began to discover slight variations and irregularities on certain 1991 P dimes. These subtle details would later snowball into revelations that stunned even veteran numismatists. So what exactly makes this particular dime so valuable? It comes down to a perfect storm of minting errors, overlooked features, and speculative rarity. Coin collectors, or numismatists, live for these kinds of discoveries, coins that, for one reason or another, are not like the others. And the 1991 P dime holds that status due to several critical factors. First, let's talk about mint errors. Minting errors can occur for a variety of reasons: mechanical malfunctions, human oversight, die deterioration, or even the accidental use of mismatched planchets or incorrect die pairs. In the case of the 1991 P dime, one of the most talked about and most valuable versions includes a coin struck on the wrong planchet entirely. Instead of the usual copper-nickel clad composition, some of these dimes appear to have been struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or other denominations. The result? A dime that's lighter or heavier than it should be, a coin with an unusual ring when dropped, or one that displays an off-color tone, each of which becomes a red flag for collectors. There are also reports of dimes with no reeded edge, meaning the familiar ridged outer edge is missing. That's a huge indicator of a planchet error or collar failure during the minting process. Such dimes are not just mistakes, they are treasures, and the more rare and bizarre the error, the higher the value. Even more fascinating are the doubled die varieties reported in the 1991 P dimes. Doubling can occur when the die shifts slightly between strikes, creating a mirrored or doubled image of the lettering, date, or features on the coin. In high-grade examples, this type of error can elevate a coin's value dramatically, especially if it's clearly visible without a microscope. Collectors go wild for these varieties, particularly if they are not widely known or cataloged. But we haven't even touched the surface yet. One of the key reasons the 1991 P dime is so captivating to collectors is because of the known discrepancies with the mint mark itself. The P mint mark should be clear and well-formed, yet in a few extremely rare cases, the mint mark is either partially missing, doubled, or in the wrong position. This is known as a repunched mint mark, or RPM. Sometimes the mint mark appears hand-punched, while other times, it appears to have been applied incorrectly altogether, showing traits inconsistent with the standard coins of that year. This leads experts to speculate that some of the 1991 dimes were struck using outdated or misaligned equipment, or even by accident using dies intended for different years or denominations. Another unique aspect is the alignment of the coin. Coin alignment refers to how the front, obverse, and back, reverse, of the coin are oriented when flipped. Standard US coins have what's known as coin alignment, meaning when you flip the coin vertically, the reverse side should appear upside down relative to the obverse. A misaligned die could result in what's called a rotated die error, where the reverse is offset at a different angle, another highly sought-after and prized characteristic in the coin world. All of these errors alone are enough to raise eyebrows and open wallets. But the most extreme value attributed to the 1991 P dime, the infamous $9 million figure, comes from a combination of all these features, plus something even rarer: speculative provenance and mystery surrounding the coin's journey. Stories have circulated of one particular specimen being pulled from circulation and ending up in the hands of a wealthy collector who recognized the dime's anomalies and historical significance. The legend only grew after that, with rumors of private auctions, sealed bidding wars, and offers reaching the multi-million-dollar range. Numismatics isn't just about metallic composition or visual appeal, it's about the stories, the mysteries, and the 1 in a billion chances that a coin like this could exist. When a collector finds such a piece, it becomes more than currency. It becomes art, history, and treasure rolled into one tiny metallic disc. We also must talk about the condition of the coin. Coin grading is a vital part of determining value. A 1991 P dime with these kinds of errors in a poor or heavily circulated condition might fetch a few $1,000s. But one in mint state, especially certified by respected grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can skyrocket in value. We're talking about grades of MS67, MS68, or higher, where the coin retains its full luster, sharp details, and zero signs of wear. The highest known grades of rare error dimes often draw the attention of institutional investors and wealthy collectors who are looking not only to own something rare but to possess something virtually irreplaceable. At this point, you might be wondering how many of these 1991 P dimes are out there. The truth is, no one knows for sure. That's part of the mystique. The US Mint has never officially confirmed how many misstruck dimes or planchet errors occurred that year. While standard production numbers suggest hundreds of millions of 1991 P dimes were released, the fraction with these extraordinary features could be as low as 1 in 10 million. That rarity, combined with condition, provenance, and the collector buzz, fuels the staggering valuation of $9 million. And just when you think the tale ends there, it doesn't. Some numismatists believe that there may still be undiscovered examples sitting in old jars, piggy banks, or forgotten drawers. Every so often, a new coin surfaces, reigniting the search and rekindling the dream that one more multimillion-dollar dime might be hiding in plain sight. The excitement of this possibility keeps coin collectors motivated and the market vibrant. This mystery is further deepened by the coin's role in U.S. monetary history. The Roosevelt dime has always been more than just currency. It symbolizes the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt and the end of the polio epidemic. Introduced in 1946, this coin series has gone through decades of change, yet remains one of the most enduring and iconic coins in U.S. circulation. So when a coin from this series emerges with such incredible errors, it creates a fusion of historical reverence and collector frenzy. Today we're diving deep into a coin that could be lying unnoticed in your pocket change or old coin jar at home. We're talking about a 2005 D1 dime United States coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike due to its incredible and rare set of errors, mint mark anomalies, and the sheer mystery surrounding its skyrocketing value. This particular coin, though officially just 10 cents in face value, has been valued by some collectors and coin dealers at a staggering $4 million, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why. Imagine finding a dime in your change that's worth more than most luxury homes. It sounds impossible, but history has shown us that minting mistakes, rare variants, and limited releases can cause certain coins to become highly sought after and valued in the millions. The 2005 D dime is one such coin. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was minted at the Denver Mint, which generally has a reputation for precision. But every now and then, even the most meticulous mint can produce coins that go terribly, or rather lucratively, wrong. What separates a regular 2005 D dime from one that's worth millions? It's a mix of everything, from double strikes to off-center errors, misaligned dies, unusual planchets, to missing layers and especially errors related to the mint mark itself. Mint marks are tiny yet powerful indicators of where a coin was made, and errors involving these marks can turn an ordinary coin into a national treasure. Let's go back to the year 2005. The US economy was thriving, and billions of coins were rolling off the presses across various mints in the country. At the Denver Mint, dimes were being produced in the hundreds of millions. Yet somehow, a few rogue specimens emerged that would go on to capture the imagination of coin collectors worldwide. One such specimen featured a double mint mark, where the D appears stamped twice, one slightly rotated and offset from the other. This alone is a major red flag for error coin enthusiasts. But it wasn't just the mint mark. This particular 2005D dime also showed signs of being struck on an experimental or transitional planchet, possibly one not intended for a dime at all. Transitional planchet errors are one of the most valuable types of minting mistakes. They occur when the U.S. Mint changes the metal composition of coins, but some blanks from the previous year or another denomination sneak into production. This could mean that a dime was struck on a planchet intended for a foreign coin, or perhaps a blank reserved for a different denomination such as a penny or nickel. The result is a coin that weighs differently, has a different sound when dropped, and often even features a slightly different color or luster. Collectors first began to suspect something unusual with the 2005D dimes when a few of them failed routine weight checks. A standard Roosevelt dime should weigh 2.268 grams. Yet a handful of 2005D dimes showed up weighing significantly less or more. At first, people thought these might be counterfeits, but closer metallurgical analysis confirmed they were genuine U.S. Mint products, just ones that were never meant to be released. When you combine this with doubling errors, especially on key features like the mint mark, motto, and Roosevelt's portrait, the mystery deepens, and so does the value. One particularly fascinating 2005D dime was struck about 15% off-center. The top of Roosevelt's head was practically cut off by the edge of the coin, and the legend, Liberty, was barely visible. These off-center strikes are dramatic to look at, and extremely rare when they are this severe and still include the mint mark. Typically, coins with such dramatic errors are pulled from the line immediately and melted down. How this one escaped remains a mystery. Then there's the matter of the so-called missing clad layer error. Modern dimes are composed of an outer layer of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. However, some 2005D dimes appear to be missing one of the layers, exposing a copper-colored or nickel-only side. This is sometimes due to a bonding issue at the mint, where the outer layers don't properly adhere to the core. When this happens, the coin not only looks dramatically different, it also feels different, and its sound is distinct when dropped on a hard surface. Experienced collectors often use this ping test as an initial diagnostic tool. Another area of interest is the so-called die cap error. This is when a coin gets stuck to the die and ends up striking subsequent coins, creating a ghost-like, blurry version of the design. A 2005D dime with such an error shows a strangely softened and stretched appearance of Roosevelt's profile and distorted lettering, giving it an almost surreal look. Because die cap errors usually ruin both the die and the coin, they are rare and typically caught early in the production process. But in the case of this dime, one managed to escape. Let's not forget about the broad strike error, a type of strike that occurs without the collar that usually shapes the coin's diameter and edge. This results in a coin that looks larger and has no defined rim or reeded edge. A 2005D dime with this kind of error was found in near mint condition, increasing its value dramatically because it combined rarity, visual uniqueness, and preservation. Now, why would all these errors suddenly appear in a single year from the Denver Mint? Experts have speculated that 2005 was a year of equipment transition or increased production pressure. The U.S. Mint often updates dies, presses, and feeding mechanisms, and during these transitional phases, errors are more likely. Furthermore, if newer or less experienced personnel were manning the production lines, the likelihood of missing an error also increases. But even among all these spectacular errors, the most mysterious and potentially the most valuable variation of the 2005D dime is the one suspected of being part of a clandestine minting, unrecorded in official logs, struck using leftover foreign coin blanks. Possibly part of a test run that was never meant for public circulation. Some numismatists believe this particular dime was a test strike using blanks for coins that were part of a contract for another country. The U.S. Mint has historically struck coins for foreign governments, and during these operations, it's possible for blanks and dies to get mixed up. One such 2005D dime had a reeded edge that didn't match typical U.S. dimes and had magnetic properties, suggesting an entirely different alloy was used. Imagine the implications: a U.S. coin accidentally made using foreign materials and released to the public. That's the kind of backstory that collectors dream of. The provenance of such a coin, who found it, how it was preserved, the chain of ownership, all add to its mystique. The few known specimens with extreme errors have shown up in the most mundane of places, one found in an old coffee can of coins, another from change at a vending machine, and one even pulled from circulation by a sharp-eyed bank teller. In each case, the coin's owner had no idea of its value until years later when they consulted an expert. Auction houses have since seen bidding wars erupt over verified 2005 dime errors. One specimen with a double strike and partial collar fetched over $25,000 at a major coin auction. Another with a missing clad layer and partial brockage, where the design of another coin is pressed into the coin's surface, drew headlines when a private collector paid six figures to add it to their collection. But the crown jewel of them all is the so-called Phantom Strike 2005 dime, an ultra-rare piece that exhibits multiple overlapping errors, including a rotated die, double strike, off-metal composition, an incomplete planchet. Its weight, edge, and electromagnetic properties are inconsistent with any known U.S. coin specifications, yet it passed all forensic tests confirming it was struck at the U.S. Mint. This particular coin was appraised at up to $4 million by a panel of numismatic experts and remains one of the most mysterious U.S. coins ever discovered. The sheer possibility that such a coin could be hiding in plain sight, mixed in with your spare change, is part of what makes this story so fascinating. It reminds us that treasure doesn't always come in the form of gold bars or ancient artifacts. It could be right in your pocket, waiting to be noticed. So how do you know if you have a valuable 2005 dime? Start with the basics. Check the weight on a precise scale to see if it deviates from 2.268 grams. Look closely at the mint mark. Does it appear doubled, blurred, or strangely placed? Examine the edge. Are the reeds complete, missing, or inconsistent? Use a magnet to test for unusual metal content. Finally, use a loupe or magnifier to look for doubling on the words "Liberty in God We Trust" and the date. If you suspect you have something rare, don't clean the coin. This can drastically reduce its value. Store it safely in a protective holder and consult with a reputable coin dealer or third-party grading service. Coin grading agencies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and grade the coin, giving it a certified status that can exponentially increase its value at auction. As we wrap up this journey into the world of the 2005 D1 dime USA coin, we're left with a profound realization that sometimes the most ordinary-looking objects carry extraordinary stories. Stories of mistakes turned miracles, of metal turned millions. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone curious about what might be in your piggy bank, the tale of the 2005 dime reminds us that life's greatest surprises often come in the smallest packages. Thank you for watching and joining us on this deep dive into the world of rare coins. Stay curious, stay observant, and who knows? You might just be holding history and FO.